Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome to the East West Show. Good for me. I took a little vacation. That vacation, my appreciation goes to my team, especially my friend Jonathan Chang, who is my cameraman, editor, and who is also the manager of the show, and also other members of my team during time when I was away. They took care of the business, and you never see a blank screen, did you? Right, good, very good. And once again, thank them very much, and thank you for your patience waiting. I'm back. This is my first day of office after this little vacation. I feel, much better rested, and I feel fresh now. Okay, now, today I'm getting even more excited because my old friend, my old friend is back. She is my friend Luann Arredondo. She is she has so many hats that she is wearing. If I do one by one, I have to cancel the show. To take the top view, all right? She is the governor-elect nominee for the 5300 district of International Rotary Club. International Rotary Club is one of the biggest, the very biggest, put it that way, organization, non-profit organization on the global earth, which I admire a lot, by which I was honored twice as governor's hero. By the way, Jack Chow is your hero anyway. Oh, thank you. What a news to share, right? Okay. And she is the commissioner of community and senior service for West Covina. And she is the founder and the CEO of LABC, which is a business consultant firm. And also she is the president of Women's Club. All right. Well, she is everything, right? My great friend, Luann Arredondo. Next to her is my old friend, of course, not stranger to you either. He was on the show about a year and a half ago, I believe, with a bunch of
few years ago.
2 years ago?
Wow, yeah.
Few years.
Yeah.
A few years ago, right? Okay. Joaquin Watkins, you remember him, I believe. He had been a professional NBA professional basketball player, and he is now coaching a bunch of kids. And his kids, each one of them are successful, and they are heading up north, go even further. So to Joaquin and to Lou, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks for having us.
That's a lengthy line of introduction, but I loved it. All right, good. I appreciate the fact that they brought Joaquin here because he's so busy. Only you could get him. I can no way get him. Right? So, and thank you for that. So you want, because it is not every of my audience could remember things about 2 years ago. Just assume everybody sees Joaquin for the first time, though. Do you think it would be better that you give us a little introduction about Joaquin, please?
Sure. So Joaquin, if the audience remembers, is a former NBA ball player. He is an ambassador for the American Stroke Association because he himself suffered a stroke. And his story, if you know his story from the time he was just a toddler, growing up, going into the NBA, and everything he has faced, challenges, and most people would just give up and say, I'm done, this is it, I'm not taking a step forward. But Joaquin never does that. He keeps moving forward. He keeps looking for ways to help the kids, help change and make a difference with the kids. And so now he's coaching a junior NBA ball club, Hawhoops, which is his creation. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to Joaquin and let him tell the rest of the story.
Sure.
Thank you, Lou. I think you know my story more than I do.
Okay.
Well, yes, as she said, I'm from originally from Linwood, California. So I'm a local kid from California. I went to college at Long Beach State.
I know recently you have lots of involvement that I admire a lot, right? I'm not talking about the chicken soup kind of thing. I'm talking about the real confidence, self-confidence, which is not only a slogan, but it's a day-to-day, everyday call that uplifts our kids, our generation, using your example, right? I recall years ago when we did our first show, when you told your story for the first time, I believe everybody was in tears. It was so vivid story. And I still want you to start that point on. So make yourself a whole piece. Do you think?
Perfect. I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. Remind the
what
audience.
happened, I mean, your golden time, during golden time at NBA as a professional player?
Yeah. Well, it actually started when I was a youth player. You know, I was 6, 7 years old. I had this dream to play in the NBA. And, you know, my way of thinking about, you know, getting to the NBA, I knew I had to play at the highest level all the time. So obviously I played at high school, I played in college, and I wasn't drafted after my college senior year. And a little discouraged because I didn't know what it took. But I had a good foundation with my family, with my uncle. So my uncle had a lot of experience of helping me improve my skills so that when that opportunity come, I would be prepared. So I trained and trained and trained, and so I ended up making the NBA. It took me 3 tries though. Tried out with the Lakers. Played about 6 or 7.
How young were you when you were
My first NBA tryout was with the Lakers. I was 23.
Oh,
yeah, I was 23 right after college, and like to thank
23
Magic Johnson.
23 to athletes is not a very
It's
early
not.
year.
It's not. A lot of kids, especially these days, sometimes they get drafted at 19.
You must have lots of
20.
specialties.
Well, I'll just say that I was very unique to what I did when I was on the court.
Okay.
And so I was able to utilize that to my advantage. And when my opportunity came, I obviously focused on my strengths and all the things I knew that the NBA was looking for. I was improving on those things before I got the opportunity. And when I did get the opportunity, I was able to.
What was the year when you first enrolled?
Well, again, my first NBA tryout was with the Lakers, and that was in 1996. That is when Kobe Bryant was on that team with the Lakers, Shaquille O'Neal, Derek Fisher, and I would like to take this time to thank Magic Johnson because he's the one that gave me the opportunity by playing with the Lakers. So I played about 6 or 7 games with the Lakers. Unfortunately, I didn't make it, and I knew that I needed to brushing up on my skills, and so I ended up leaving after the Lakers, went to Taiwan and played for a year. So I lived in Taiwan for 1 year. I played professionally there. Learned a lot about the culture, but really learned a lot about myself.
Learned any Chinese?
I didn't learn any Chinese, but I knew the smaller, the hellos, the goodbyes.
Goodbye, those are vocabulary.
Yeah,
right?
And I had a translator too there, so that helped.
So first, when you had this thing on you, that happened all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And what exactly? When was that, and how did it happen?
Yeah. Well, again, I started my career in '96, so I played professionally all throughout '96, '97, '98. So all the way until 2002, 2003, I ended up making the NBA. Finally, you know, got my NBA stripes, and I was a professional NBA player, and my dream was accomplished. And so after my first year in the NBA, our coach got very sick. He ended up having, I think, cancer, and Rui Tomjanovich, and really one of the best coaches I've ever had. And so the team got dismantled. You know, I didn't get return on my contract, and so I continued to play overseas. So moving fast forward to 2007, I had a chance to play over in Australia, and one of the greatest experiences I had as far as basketball and obviously livelihood of a basketball player in Australia. It's not really a vacation, but I mean, you got the beautiful water,
you
the
have
sunshine.
more than 10 years of plain sailing.
Yes,
right?
I loved it.
Very smooth sailing.
Yes, and so my family was there, and so for 5 months, and this is the longest.
And making lots of money.
Making good money, not a lot, but making a
to
good
me, that's a
stint.
lot of money. Right?
Well, you know what, compared to a normal 9 to 5.
I always look at the money this way, like that. Okay. So,
but in 2007 is when I unfortunately had the stroke. And I still remember this day like it was yesterday. We just had a game the night before, and I went to turn on the faucet to brush my teeth, and I got a tingly feeling on my right fingertips. And so I didn't know if I slept on my arm wrong, but the tingly feeling went from my fingertips to my palm to my entire right arm, and then all of a sudden I couldn't feel anything on my arm. And I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know I was having a stroke. But then I got this really throbbing headache. It was like someone was hitting me in the head with something, and
I see.
I was in a room by myself in my hotel room, and so got nauseated. So naturally, I think I need to go lay down. Maybe I can get a little bit more rest. And so as I went to go lay down, again, my whole entire right arm, no feeling at all. And so this is when I started to think about, just what can be happening in my body. And I remember this vivid thought when I was younger it was a commercial I saw when people have a stroke and they have a saggy face or just something with your limbs are not working. I remember that, and I said, I know this can't be happening to me. So I stood up. And I went to go look in the mirror, and so when I looked in the mirror and I smiled, and I can tell the right side of my face was like sagging.
You knew that's happening to you.
I knew it was happening to me, but it still didn't register as a stroke. And so instead of me, calling 911 or getting help, I went to go lay back down. And unfortunately, I didn't know what was happening with my body, but I kept thinking, what is happening? Because I kept feeling like I wanted to go to sleep. I was feeling nauseated.
You didn't even call your team players?
I didn't. And I think it was also because of the
You're a tough
effects,
man.
the effects of what was happening in my brain, and I'll get to that in a minute. I wasn't aware. I just wasn't aware. And so when I stood back up to look in the mirror again to see if my face was still disfigured, I completely just failed. My entire right side now had no feeling. And so I was devastated. I was scared. I was nervous. I was in a hotel room by myself, and so at that time I was in survival mode. I had to find a way to get some help. And so I remember laying on the ground, and I'm just looking around. Who can I call? The phone is over there, like 10 feet away. I can't get to the phone.
Wow.
I remember looking at the door, and I remember looking and seeing people on the other side of the door walking by. So that became my motivation. I had to go where those people are. And so I took all the strength that I had, and I was able to pick myself up, and I was kind of like dragging my entire right side all the way to the door. And so when I finally got to the door, I opened it up, and there was no one there. And so still terrified and not really thinking, I went to go lay back down, and I laid myself in the bed, and at this time I was emotional, crying, and I felt like something was happening in my body, and I didn't know what it was. So. Thank God, my teammate finally walked in to find out what happened.
Oh, I see.
And when I went to try to tell him what happened, I couldn't talk. So I went from the point where I couldn't move, now I couldn't talk, I couldn't speak.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Yeah, it was getting worse by the moment. So long story short, so I ended up, my physical therapist ended up coming in to kind of assess me, and the only thing that I could tell my teammate before he came in was that I try to utter the word doctor so he would know that's what I need. And that was the only way that he knew that I needed some help. So he ran to get our massage therapist at that time, and he came in and assessed me. And so I just kept saying doctor, doctor, and I was stuttering pretty bad. And so they finally, we had a flight that day. We had to take a flight to the next city for our game. And so he got back word from the coach that he didn't have time to take me to the doctor at that time, and this is the only flight of the day. And so I ended up taking the flight after having these stroke symptoms.
Lou, it is, of course, even though I know he's okay, right?
Yeah.
And he is much better than back then.
Yeah.
Right? But to think of that very moment, all of a sudden, for somebody, kick and alive, so much, so active, playing on the sports arena, all of a sudden, fell like that. It's kind of most devastating.
And then the coach making the conscious choice to put him on a flight instead of taking him to the hospital where he really should have been. Now he's having to go through an airport, get on a plane, go through all that. That is just adds to the tragedy.
Yeah, that is so terrible. My dear audience, is why we pick up the old story. We want to show you a good example, an example that once he can once again stand up on his feet, he can act so actively in what he does now that you can do the same thing, right? My dear audience, we're a little longer than usual on this segment, but we can always do it. I didn't cut him off because I really enjoyed that story. Yes, with me today is my good friend Luann Arredondo, who I owe a lot of appreciation. Of course, the credit always goes to her, that she brought my friend Joaquins here to talk about his own personal story. It's not a nostalgic thing, all right? That's nothing to feel nostalgic about. It is a thing to see how successful you can be, how beaten you can be. And yet, as long as you have a confidence, you have the willpower to stand up, you could. All right? My dear friends, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. Life is so unpredictable. Life is hopeful, I know, you know, everybody knows that, but only to a certain limit, right? Within range, you're talking about any moment, something could happen to you, to anybody. Just love it. Love it the way you can, and try to make every minute of it useful, significant. Otherwise, you're wasting it. My friend Hawkins, I'm sorry. I always put a W in front. Mr. Hawkins has his personal story. Started from a point being an NBA player for successful 11 years. And all of a sudden, a stroke got him. From that point on, he stood up. And he's now back on track, not only successful, but more successful. And I understand, Luann, of course, in between back then and now, there's lots of stories to follow, the linear line to talk about, but we want to jump into what he does. Right? So what he does now, he's with the league, and he's coaching the kids, what he does now.
So a few years back, he formed Hawhoops, and it's his way of giving back to the community. And if you hear Joaquin talk about his story and you hear his challenges and his struggles, every step of the way, he's always thinking about somebody else. It's never just about Joaquin. It's always about that next big picture, that next big thing. How can I be a good role model to the kids? How can I be a good dad and role model to my children? How can I be a good husband to my wife? And so his life is almost designed to create a path for what everybody else can do. It's an example of the human spirit and resilience.
No, you're right.
And
you're right.
so he and I are connected again on a couple of fronts. One, his story. We're continuing to try and get his story told because we do think the audiences want to hear that story. It's what we all want to hear. How do we take something tragic and overcome it?
Yes, yes.
And then on the children front, he's got this team that he's giving kids discipline. He's teaching them how to make good choices, how the choices they make, whether it's on the court, will dictate what follows. And it could be on the court today, but it could be in your backyard, your neighborhood, with your friends at school tomorrow.
In other words, he's not only coaching them basketball skills, but everything.
Because it all relates. And so we're coming together in March to put on an exhibition game. He and his friends from the NBA are going to come play our principals and our city council members and have a fun, I guess, beating us, and we'll attempt to play basketball. And but it'll be fun. We've got 1,200 tickets sold already, and we've got 300 more to sell.
Wow.
But we're expecting to pack as many people as we can into West Covina High School Gymnasium. But at the same time that we're doing that, because 100% of those dollars are going for scholarships to the kids, A portion will go to scholarships for the kids that are going into Ivy League schools.
Any website for my audience, because they are loving people.
So we will be promoting it on the West Covina Sunrise Rotary website, which is clubrunner.ca/West Covina Sunrise. And we'll also have it on Facebook. We are bringing several media group outlets there that day to film and put us on the news.
And I'll put it on our website as well.
And Joaquin's going to be promoting it as well. And it's twofold our goal. So scholarships for the kids that want to go to the Ivy League and just don't have the funds, but also the kids that are in the gaps. So those kids that aren't going to go to an Ivy League school, but they want to go beyond high school. So there's going to be funds for them there. So it's scholarships for kids, and we're also donating proceeds back to Hawhoops because his program is a phenomenal program, and if there's any way that we can promote it broadly, I mean, yes, he's one man, but and I want him to tell more about Hawhoops, but it's a fabulous program.
Sure. I like that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that you put yourself or use yourself as a model for the young people. And by the way, Lou, I want to tell you the truth. I don't think that I'm a perfect man, but everything I do here, I keep myself reminded. You're a role model on the TV screen because people copy you.
Right.
You want to do things in the right way. Even when I walk on the street, when I appear in the restaurant, though, I always keep myself reminded. Right. So nowadays, when people are together, they are thinking about money all the time, as to the value, for the social value, for the moral value, they kind of going down south, right? I'm very glad that you put that first, right? And by the way, there's something else to mention about the UCLA players in China, the three of them. So you have a comment. How do you feel about those?
Yeah, it's just
you heard
unfortunate
about
what happened. I mean, it's for them to be young, to be having the opportunity to play college basketball. Obviously, a lot of kids would love to have that opportunity, and it's a life lesson for them. And now they're the example. They're the example that you gotta kind of understand your decisions before you make your decisions. And I think I know that they learned a lot. I know that they are very regretful for what happened, but I think they also are now the example for the kids of youth of today to understand that as much as you want to maybe get certain things, you got to earn it, and you got to respect how to get it. And I think that they are the lessons. Those are the lessons that they have learned, and those are the lessons that we all can kind of use as an example.
Good, very good. Using that as a bad example, and using yourself as a good example, I believe that you deserve it to be recognized. So the kids, I understand that you coach them in the overall way, including discipline.
Yes, indeed. Well, I always use my own experiences. Obviously, I'm a former NBA player, and unfortunately, I had a stroke. And I remember the week that I was in the hospital after having a stroke. I had problems talking. My memory was affected. I wasn't the Joaquin Hawkins that I grew up to be. And so I had to change, I had to adapt, and I couldn't use an excuse that I was a stroke survivor. My life definitely had changed. I was no longer playing professional basketball. So.
And the most devastating moment, I believe that you want to use that to show your kids, right? What did you think?
Well, for one, I thought my life was over. I was a 34-year-old professional basketball player that had a stroke, and all of a sudden I can barely remember my kid's name. I had to support my wife and my kids, and I couldn't do it anymore. And so I had to really arrange my priorities and adapt to the life that God gave me. And so I was able to understand that I had a lot of experience. I played 14 years professional basketball up to that point, and even though physically I couldn't play anymore, mentally and emotionally, I know that I can use my experiences to help the next kid. And so I started with some small training sessions, and they ended up someone told another friend, and I went from 10 players to 30 players to 50 players. And then all of a sudden, I wanted to put together a team. And so I ended up having a tryout and had 50 players that tried out, and I selected all of them.
You know what, Lou, there's such a saying, there's nothing absolutely bad or absolutely good. If you have it in mind, you have the guts, you have the confidence, you can always turn something bad into good, into excellent. My dear friends, today is one of the very few chances we touch this soul of this young man, still young man to me, and professional basketball player. It's not a regular basketball player. I'm talking about NBA basketball player who had a stroke and stood up from there, grow into an even bigger person. Right. With me is my good friend Luann Arredondo, and she is the governor-elect nominee for 5300 district of Rotary International. She's also the commissioner for community and senior service, West Covina. Many other heads, just to omit. And let's take a very short break. We will come back to continue, please.
Okay.
Hello, dear friends, lovely audience. Welcome back to the show. With me today is my good friend, Mr. Hawkins. He is a wonderful human being that I feel proud of being his friend, and a former NBA basketball player who, even though was once brought to a most devastating moment when he was hit by a stroke to the point that he could not even move, could not even talk. You can never imagine for somebody who plays basketball, who jumps all the way, like a meter high, right, to be kind of like refrained in bed, how much pressure that would be. And from that on, not only did he recover the stroke, but also back on the court. And from there on, he picked with the kids. And he become a coach. I would say the coach of everything, right? So to be precise, what do you do now?
Yeah, well, I'm the founder of Hawhoops Junior NBA. It's a youth basketball program. We're located in Orange County. We approximately now have about 100 kids in our program.
About 100
yes.
kids in your program?
100 kids.
Just regular kids or promising kids?
Both. We don't
basketball-wise, the basketball talent.
Well, yeah, basketball talent, and it's people that's interested in the game of basketball, and also, improving themselves good enough to play high school and possibly college, and they're on afterwards. So.
And you enroll some of them scholarship.
Yeah, well, we are right now. We're trying to get some scholarships for some kids, because some kids they can't afford it. We have some kids from the inner city. We have kids from single-parent homes, and so there is a fee every month that they have to pay to be a part of the program. And so we're looking for sponsorship for that, and that's one reason why we're doing the event in March. But as of right now, we do have 100 kids and about 12 teams. The manager/coach out of the 12 teams, I coach 3. And I have some of my other former NBA player friends, college teammates, and other people that I know that play professionally. They're part of my coaching staff. So we have a really good, unique
What is the
situation.
organization called once again?
Hawhoops Junior NBA.
Huh?
Hawhoops.
Hawhoops.
Junior NBA.
I see.
Yeah.
So how many coaches working together with it?
Right now it has 7 coaches.
7 coaches.
Yeah.
And some of them are former players.
Yes, we have one other ex-NBA player, and we have a couple other coaches that also play professionally overseas.
I know you guys are expensive guys.
Not really. We try not to be, and that's why we need sponsorships to help out with those lessons, because we have expenses.
Where does the funding come from?
Well, some of the parents, they do pay a monthly fee. Sometimes I go out to businesses and try to seek sponsorships for some kids. And so, I mean, any help that anyone can do is always helpful.
Is it a nonprofit or what?
No, it is a for-profit, but we do have a nonprofit in place, so we will start to operate as a nonprofit. Yeah.
Very good. I believe that there are lots of parents who want to put their kids in the training programs, like what you do, right?
Yes.
So all you need to do is let them know.
Yes.
Let them know, right?
Yes.
And on the screen you can see the
Website.
the name of the organization, ways to get enrolled or stuff like that.
Yes.
You have telephone numbers and everything here,
Right.
or contact or website.
Yeah.
Those information
We do have a website.
that my audience can see.
Good.
All right. Now,
Good.
in the programs, what do you teach them?
Well, we teach them not only basketball skills, the fundamentals of shooting the basketball, how to learn how to dribble the basketball, improving their basketball IQ, passing, but we also teach life skills. Because we know everyone is not going to be an NBA player. We know everyone is not going to go to high school and college and play. But to form a certain type of discipline of how to do things, a routine of how to do things is something that's very important, and they can be able to utilize the rest of their lives.
I see. Do you teach them otherwise, like mindset?
Yes.
Like mindset.
Basketball is, first of all, you have to be mentally prepared to play basketball because it's a strategy. Sometimes the best teams that have the best talent don't win the games. So if you are able to think the game, to understand the game, you'll be able to play the game more of an efficient way.
I always thinking about it, especially towards the end. You have 15 seconds left, right?
Yeah.
And it calls off for a pause.
Yeah.
And then all together, when the whistle goes back again, you have only altogether 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And yet you fall behind just by 2 scores.
Yeah.
And then it is upon you, it is incumbent upon you to make the whole team lose or win, right?
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
You shoot a 3-pointer, you win, something like that. And I would assume there's lots and lots of pressure on this player or the players.
Yeah, and the coach too.
The coach too, right? You train them the mindset?
Yes, we train a mindset in practice. So we put them in different scenarios during practice that will prepare them for the game. So we use practice to prepare for the game.
So the reason I handpicked that is because I found that mindset is so useful to folks, regardless of what you do. You do need to have that kind of mindset.
Yeah, you have to be strong because again, just in life, everything that you want is not going to be given to you. You gotta fight for it. It's going to be some ups and downs. The one thing that we try to, especially kids are so young, we try to get them more emotionally stronger because they're young. So some kids they may cry when they don't don't make a shot.
What's their age range?
Between 9 and 14. So we have
9 and 14.
Yes,
pretty young.
Yeah, very young. We also have a high school team, but they don't start until after their high school basketball season is over with.
I see.
But we normally have ages 9 all the way to 17. Yeah, but during this time of
year.
And
also, Mr. Hawkins, I would like to check with you if there's anything that rings a bell to you about the winning philosophy. I noticed that in the country, we always kind of sing or applause for winners. How about losers? In between winning and losing, where does the logic stand? For example, if I score 100, you score 99. Okay, put it this way. If my team scored 100, your team scores 99. Does that mean my team is 1% better than you? Or you are less perfect by 1% than I am? Okay, where does
that specific scenario is maybe you're just better that day. That doesn't mean you're the better player, you're the better person. It means that your strategy that day was better than mine or my team.
It just so happened that way.
Yeah, it just so happened that way. And one thing that we do teach with our program is that and I'm always saying, sometimes you get the best lesson when you lose. Because now you're learning, okay, I lost this
that's
because
good philosophy.
I lost because I didn't make this pass, so I wasn't in the right position. So you're learning all those lessons even though you lost. But at the end of the day, you know, especially at that age, you're learning to make some progress for your future. So I think, again, some of the best lessons are learned when you lose a game.
Yeah, like that. I would like to quote unquote that line. Some of the good lessons learned from the mistake.
Yes.
Learn when you lost a game.
Yes.
Something like that, right? And for that I like to promote the philosophy, a philosophy or the philosophy that we do not judge winners or losers that much.
I agree.
Right. Otherwise, you're just doing the wrong call.
Just by winning or losing a game doesn't make you less of a person.
Very good.
So we teach a lot of life lessons and not just trying to win every single basketball
All right,
game.
thank you very much. And let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, I want you to let my audiences know if they happen to have kids and of course their parents want to send a team to you, send the kids to you.
Right.
How do they get in touch with you, and how you want them prepared, and how much you want them to know about you and your program and stuff like that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay, sure.
Right. So let's take a very short moment out. I believe a lot of my audiences would like to do so. Well, here's a chance. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, dear friends, lovely audiences. Welcome back to the show. My dear friends, if you happen to be somebody's parents between 9 to 14 who like basketball, who like to give it a try, though, you never know. Chances might be there, right? With me today, Mr. Hawkins. He is a wonderful role model for lots of young people. Former professional NBA player. Who has a hard time, very, very super hard time, out of which he stood up with his willpower, with lots of team members' help, and so on and so forth. He's now turning to help everybody else, especially in the form of doing the programs, doing the training program with the kids who has the basketball talent. My point is that if my audiences want to get involved, or they want to send their kids to you, how do they contact you there?
Well, we do have a website. It is hawhoops.org. So HAWKHOOPS.org. So they can contact. You have all our information about our program.
Yeah. And that is the one that you see now on the screen, my audiences. Make a note of it, and you probably can start from there on, right?
Hawhoops.org, or they can call 562-318-7044.
And that's the exact number there. You can call and
right. And then obviously they can always follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, I'm Coach Hawk 247, and on Facebook I'm Joaquin Hawkins, Hawk Hoops. So they can follow me there as well.
I see. Yeah. So, what do they need to do, the parents, to get their kids involved?
Well, once they call the phone number or contact us through the website, we'll invite them to one of our practices. We practice on Mondays and Wednesdays in the city of Garden Grove. So the program is centered in Garden Grove, but we go around and play in local tournaments. And so twice a month, we take the kids to different competitive tournaments so that all the skills they learn throughout the week, they apply that in a tournament style on the weekend. So we do that twice a month. Our program is year-round. So even sometimes we take them out of state. We have a trip that we're going to Las Vegas. We just came back from San Diego 2 weeks ago. We're going to Oregon in February. So again, it's a lot of fun for the kids, a lot of life lessons that they're learning. And so we always are looking for kids, and it doesn't matter their skill level, whether you're intermediate, first timer, or maybe you played before and you're just looking for a little bit more of a competitive play.
Is your program schedule in conflict with their school programs?
No, it's not. Our program our practices are Mondays and Wednesdays from 5:30 till 7.
Oh, after school
Yes,
hours.
it's after school.
After school
yeah,
hours. Yeah.
And you know, we understand sometimes kids have homework and they can't come to practice because we always make sure that school is a priority. Obviously, with sports.
Is in Garden Grove?
Yes, in Garden Grove.
Garden Grove.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah. And then we also have a sponsorship opportunity. We have our own. We just call it a Hawhoops court. There at the facility, we have our own design court that has Hawhoops, and we have able to have different businesses that have their name with us.
To get you involved, though, do you have an audition thing?
Yes, so we call it a evaluation. And so, yeah, so the kids will come to practice.
You won't take somebody like my size, right?
You know, it depends. You can be a coach.
I weigh only 228 pounds.
That's it. You'll be a good player for our 10U team. We need some size with our
You need somebody on the bench who picks the balls.
Well, you know what? I think
when the ball goes out of bounds and
you can pick it up. Okay.
Bring it back.
You can be a helper that way.
I can do a better job for that, right?
But no, we take all levels.
You do have auditions.
Yes, it's an evaluation. We'll give them 2 free practices where there's no fee at all. And we evaluate you, myself, and other former NBA players. We evaluate, you know, the boy or the girl. So we do have, it's a co-ed program. And we have some pretty good girls in the program that really give some of our boys a run
Not
for the
only
money.
boys,
yeah,
you have
it's
girls
boys
too.
And girls. Yes, yes. So it's a really exciting opportunity for kids that you know, want to be taught by someone that played in the NBA at the highest level, and also to make friends.
You know what is good? For some time, the parents are not sure if their sons and daughters might have a future with basketball, though. You want some kind of a professional eye looking at them.
True. Very
to
true.
give you the, well, maybe or maybe not, something like that.
It's very unique of what we have. You know, I'm very blessed to say that I played in the NBA, and obviously I don't take that for granted. But I use all the experiences. You know, I had a chance to play with the Lakers and with Kobe Bryant. I have my best game was against Michael Jordan, and I have all those experiences coaching. Yeah, so I have all the experience of being an NBA player and, you know, playing against the best in the world, playing against Kobe Bryant, having my best games against Michael Jordan, and, you know, playing against Shaquille O'Neal.
Michael Jordan is still my favorite.
He's still one of my favorites, too. But I have all those experiences.
He does his balls like dancing.
He really doesn't. He doesn't. And I think that a lot of kids in this day and age, they use that as a model. They want to be he was one of the best, so they want to be one of the best. And so I try to use that in my program and my experiences. I give it to them. I improving their knowledge of the game. And again, maybe they don't play high school basketball. Maybe they don't play college and beyond. But
is there a certain cause for them to take, like say, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4?
Well, we have different levels of teams. And so some of our teams, it's 3 different levels. We have gold, silver, and bronze. Bronze level, maybe a little bit more kids that need, you know, some more experience. They need, they're working on their confidence. They're working on their skill level. That'll be the bronze division. Then we have the silver division. Those kids are a little bit more experienced, a little bit more better skilled. They still play competitively. And then we have the gold division, or like closer to the elite style kids that have the experience and the skill level. So that's why we have the evaluation for at least 2 practices, so we as coaches can evaluate them to see which category we will put them in.
All right. To judge about their progresses or how much they made, how well they are trained, though, do you have any competition or contest or something?
A lot of competition, a lot of contests.
A lot of them.
Yes. So where I'm at in Garden Grove, I would assume, again, I don't look and see how many other programs are around, but just in one tournament for the weekend, like we just had a tournament yesterday, there were almost 200 other teams in the tournament.
200 other
from
teams?
all over. Yes, from all over. So there's a lot of other youth programs that are out there. We like to
play amongst them?
Yes, we play against them. We play against them in tournament. And so we never claim to be the best, but we have a very unique setting because we do have guys that played in the NBA. We do have experienced coaches. We do have staff members that have played the game at the highest level. And so that kind of gives us a different advantage.
In the tournament, you prove yourself, your team, to be the best.
Let's just say we do win a good share of our games.
Oh, very good. Okay, good.
Yeah, this past weekend, we had 9 teams that entered the tournament, and we had 4 teams that got to the championship. Last tournament, we had 11 teams. We have a total of 12 teams. We had a total of 11 teams, and we had 9 teams that made it to the championship round.
Oh,
so we are a very competitive program.
Is that a very expensive training program?
Well, we have a fee. We have a practice player fee. And then we have, if you're not good enough to be on the team, that'll be just for you as a practice to get the training, the practice player. And then we have a fee to actually be in the program. So the cost to be in the program is $215 a month. You get 8 practices, training sessions with me and some of the other former NBA players.
I see.
And you also get 2 tournaments, a total of 8 games for that month.
I see.
So it's kind of inexpensive when you take in account all the expenses, because we have to pay for gym costs. It costs to get into the tournaments, and then we also have to pay the coaches for their experiences.
It's the same thing. These days, parents will do anything.
Yeah.
Parents will do anything for their kids as long as their kids prove themselves to be good at certain things.
True.
Such as, say, violins or pianos or dancing or singing or guitars or whatever, right? They do a lot for their kids, right? So the only question is that, is your kid or are the kids right for that?
For their team. And again, that's what we do the evaluation again. We want to make sure we put their kid, we don't want to put a kid that is a beginner on the goal level where he's not improving, he's not confident. And so we really are really particular of how we put the teams together. And I think that's why we have so much success.
How many years have you been doing this?
I developed Hawhoops in 2003. The very month I finished playing the NBA with the Rockets. I've been doing club basketball now for the last 10 years.
I see. And how this time you hook up with West Covina?
Well, we're focused right now in Orange County because of my clientele. I have some training sessions that I started there about 10 years ago. So my just the people that I know, it developed my program. This whole happened developed there in Garden Grove. But I would like to have it in West Covina. I would love to have it and my goal, that is part of my goal, is to have it in every city, in LA, in Long Beach. I live in Fontana. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask. If you base yourself only in Garden Grove, though, so people want to go, say Glendale, they want to go, right?
Yeah.
Say Pasadena, they want to go.
Yeah.
So quite a distance.
Oh yeah, I definitely, I'm not just trying to base the program there in Garden Grove. It grew there in Garden Grove, so I would like to try to branch out to be in the West Covina area, and just kind of be able to spread myself and make sure that other kids from other areas and other cities can have that experience. So I'm looking, so everyone knows.
Very good.
To have a gym here in West Covina, I would love to have Hawhoops here.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you very much, sir. And today with me is my good friend, Joaquin Hawkins. He is a wonderful coach, and he was a former player for NBA professional team. All of a sudden, he is now turning himself into an even greater human being, teaching, coaching the kids for some programs for the talented kids. So I wish him good luck in the future, and I wish lots of players. Oh, by the way, the retired players, they join you, right?
Yes, I do. I have one former NBA player that used to play in the NBA. He's retired now. He helps me out. I'm affiliated, obviously with the junior NBA, and so I have other friends that play professionally. That some of the kids, they take pictures with them when we go to the tournaments. And so it's really, really a unique opportunity for kids to be a part of our program.
Guest players?
Guest players, current players. Some of the players that I know now.
Exciting.
We're working on that.
Yeah,
we're definitely working on that, trying to have some of the current players, to come out and at least talk with the kids to encourage them a little bit more.
Of course,
And,
all right.
one thing I like to add, obviously, I do have a book that I wrote, The Stroke of Grace. And that's going to be, obviously, it's already on Amazon. You can go to strokeofgrace.org to get a copy of that, and it talks about my journey to the NBA, my falls, having the obstacles of having a stroke, and overcoming to what I'm doing today. And as Lou talked about a little bit earlier, hopefully one day we'll be able to get that on the movie screen and to have a movie being made of that.
About 3 years ago, Lou and I were thinking about turning this whole thing into a movie.
Yeah, that would be great. I know my kids would love that.
All right. All right, my dear audience, thank you very much for watching. And to my dear friend, Mr. Coach Hawkins.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So.